Ooh, episode 54 opens up with Danny and Pamela entering in Joey's casino. You know why she's there, right? We're going to keep watching and find out. Honey, Pamela acts like she ain't never been to no damn casino before. And then Danny schools her like, girl, Geneva, honey, you have taken worthless looking women and changed them into stars to the point where people can't resist them. What type of work you used to do, Pam? So we find out that they are there to get some seed money to help them with their modeling agency. So they sashay on over to the gambling table to see what the dealer has in store for them. And then the next scene, Todd has made his way over to Leslie's house, honey, and she is sitting on the couch painting her nails. Dana says, for the love of God, if you are here to get another piece of Dana Leslie Robinson, honey, take a number. And she's opening up the door, and the voice over the speaker says, the role of Dr. Ted Richardson is played by Mr. Keith D. Robinson. And he says, Dana, we got to talk. She says, As he walks in, honey, you could see the chills just going down her spine, baby. She loved that man. Now I just noticed. I know I'm trash, but I didn't even notice Keith's new picture up there in the beginning, and he looks good. He don't have the heavenly white that Maurice had on, but Keith, go ahead, Keith. You looking good, bro. Okay, the next scene we open up. Andre is at the hospital, and Kat was like, "Where are you?" She sent him a text message. He was like, "I'm at the hospital. What's up?" She was like, "Stay right there. This is huge." No, that's I'm talking about that's Andrew. No, that's Jacob, the cop. I always get them a little mixed up. They both fine. So he goes into the room and we see Naomi, Dougie, and June is there and she's in the hospital. You know, June has been and so she has pneumonia. Duh, Doug. Yeah, we knew that. Maybe I should have been the doctor. Dougie said that her pneumonia is quite severe, right? So she's sitting in the bed with the little mask on her face. Oh, you know, he said she's going to need surgery. She snatched that damn mask off. She said, surgery? Whoa. Naomi was like, whoa, calm down, June. The idea of this whole thing in the hospital is to get you better. And then June started doing all this damn coughing. Ow! Ow! We see the next scene, baby. We hear Vernon playing the articulates. I guess the articulates were like really, really like big and popping back in the 80s. So Anita walks in on him because he playing that music loud. And Vernon was like, yeah, I'm listening to my boo and her sissies. Yes. So Miss Anita was like, honey, what was that? He's like, my favorite group. They was popular back in the day. You know, it makes me think of the old days. Yeah. And he put his hands around her waist and he said, yeah, it makes me think of them old feelings too. You feel that? She said, ow, go ahead, baby. You know, Vernon, he's a talker, honey. So he's trying to use all these smooth statements. You know, it was a powerful voice. They used to get the people moving. You know, they had some change back in the day. You know, that's powerful. She said, honey, I know you. And I'm going to do what I damn want when I damn want. It ain't because you fine and you trying to tell me what to do. So Vernon was like, as you wish. And she said, look, I do want to do this, okay? I want to do a reunion with the Articulates for one night only. He was like, and after that, y'all gonna go on a tour or anything like that? She's like, look, it all depends. And he was like, oh, baby, you are not going to regret this, boo, I promise. He was like, as soon as you start rehearsing, honey, and start rehearsing with those ladies and get together with your sisters, baby, you're going to feel like, and then we hear a ding dong at the doorbell, front door. So Rowena, who's the maid, we never see Rowena. Don't y'all need a Rowena? I'm telling you, call me. Anyway, Rowena was upstairs, so Vernon goes and gets the door, and he says, whoever that is, honey, I'm finna get rid of them real quick, because we got you right where I want you. And guess who's at the damn front door? Bill. And Vernon was like, damn, I was having a good day till you showed up. And Vernon is like, what the devil possessed you to come here? So we get back to the ladies, Danny and Pamela at the casino, and they finna play some blackjack, baby. Ooh, and Danny's kind of flirting with the dealer. She says, and what is your name, honey? And he says, whatever you want it to be. So, ooh. So Danny tells him, well, my friend and I are here to help beautify the world. And Pam says, and you're going to help us turn these chips into the cash that's going to turn our agency into the dreams that we want. Oh, yeah, y'all better work. Daddy was like, now he does look a little cute now. And Pamela was like, he does. Do you model? Huh? Name of my choice? Danny was like, play your cards right. We'll have you half naked in an international fashion magazine before you know it. Like, girl, what happened to the hello? She said, let's play. And so, next scene, we get to Dougie, June, Naomi, and Jacob. Naomi and June cutting a fool in that bed. You can hear that beep of the machine going beep, 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 because she's like, I don't want no damn surgery. So June takes off her mask and she was like, Naomi was like, what's wrong, June? June said, oh, he's the one cutting me. Did she see his hand wrap the fuck up? She's like, I'll take my chances on the street. Doug said, relax, I'll be there, but only on a supervisory capacity. I ain't gonna be working on you with this bad hand, honey. So this tall, blonde Dr. Wilkes comes in. I remember seeing a update on him joining the cast this week as one of the doctors. So June was like, and he got 2 of everything, right? Everything is working fine, because I don't need him to be no limb type of doctor working on me. So Dr. Wilkes says, I'll take good care of you, June. And June was like, oh, really? she was looking real little sweet on Dr. Wilkes. And so Jacob was his dumb ass. Sometimes Jacob you don't need to say nothing, but just be naked on the bed with Tide, Jacob. Doctor, we can't wait for Dr. McBride or Dougie to be better to operate. No, Dougie's hand is fucked up. He messed his hand up by being mad about messing up the surgery. The last person you want working on June is a gambling doctor. God knows. Sorry, y'all. Sorry for my rant. Jacob, I tell you, he just, ooh. So then he had the nerve to tell the doctor, no offense. And Dr. Wilkes was like, none taken. He's like, because of the pneumonia that's happening in her lungs, she ain't getting that much oxygen to her heart. So the quicker we work on her, the better she gonna feel. So Doug knows some shit. Now he said because of all what's going on, she got something called ischemia. You know, Beyond the Gates is always throwing these big words. They haven't done it in a while, but they've done that. So she's gonna need a bypass surgery. God, no. Damn June. She says, I'm surprised they could do this scene without laughing. So because of the heart condition, Doug says that if she doesn't have the surgery, it's going to be permanent damage, right? So Joan takes the mask off. She says, oh, and people called me heartless. So next thing we see Leslie and Ted, and she's like, what brings you here? He was like, Eva. Oh, she's like, well, what's our precious little angel gotten herself into? You don't think that Eva is precious, and definitely don't think that Eva is no damn angel. Ted, oh, he's going to get a few people together today for her lunch since it's her birthday. I like this Ted. You know why, y'all? Because, this is going to be a long video, because I could see him playing vulnerable back then and being naive and being just, hurt, and just this lady who played a waitress, how she just used her feminine wiles and her look and her allure to get him stimulated. I can see this now. I really can. I'll be seeing a lot of stuff, but yeah, he wants to do something for Eva for her birthday. How sweet. Now, Ted, you real dumb. Now, the thought is nice. Didn't Bill tell your ass not to be nowhere near her? So he invites her to join the party. He was like, it's no stress. Do you care to join us? I know you're going to be uncomfortable for you to be around certain people. I'm like, you really? Ted, what's going on? Are you trying to set her up? She looking like, what's that about? You ain't never invited me before. I don't like that. Ooh, he was like, well, far be it from me to walk on any plans that you already had for her birthday. And she's like, so why would I do that? After she betrayed me? She said, I cursed that day. You cursed the day that your baby was born, girl. Leslie. She said it was the worst day of her life. And he looking at her like, You crazy. She's like, always expecting a cake. And then just want to celebrate the fact that she just ripped my whole world in two. He shook his head and she's like, what? He says, who the hell says that monsters are only in damn fairy tales? Because I'm standing here looking at one right damn now. In the next scene, honey, we see Miss Nicole with her all white, I mean, just sashaying in her house, and Smitty is over there talking to his mother? Yeah, his mother-in-law. Yeah. So she was like, if this is a this sympathy call, save it. He was like, well, what about there's another reason? She was like, why am I, Martin? He was like, have you ever thought about becoming a psychic? See, I told y'all, they witches. She was like, what's going on between you and my son? He was like, I was hoping that you could tell me. So they talked about the fact that, what has he been talking about his whole life? And so Nicole was like, to be president. And he was like, yeah, but what if all of a sudden he wanted to give that up? And she looking like, what? And then the next scene, we see Anita and Vernon letting Bill in. And Anita was like, I thought I smelled fire and brimstone coming through my door. And she said, usually it's the saying goes, speak of the devil and he shall appear. But this one, honey, this one shows up unannounced and uninvited. So he was like, nice to see you too, Anita. She was like, haven't you stirred up enough trouble? What you want? So he brought by their house the paperwork that they talked about regarding the sale of their beach property. Why you just didn't go over to Danny's house? You know where she lived. So he was talking about he decided to come over there instead of going to her house so he could avoid all of this chaotic encounter. Danny ain't thinking about you. And Vernon was like, haven't you heard of UPS? The courier services? It's one of them. Bird, all of that. Nita looking like him. Bullshit. She's like, Vernon, don't you get that feeling? And Vernon was like, yeah, that he's here for another reason. Baby, I sure do. I sure do. Okay, we see Vanessa at Orphe Jeans fixing up her lips, and then some dude named Cody is hovering over her shoulder. And she's like, Cody, what are you doing here? He said, I wanted to see you. And then she says, you shouldn't be following people. Weird. He was like, I like you. And she's like, you enjoyed what we did together? He says, very much. And she says, She says, so now you need more? She says, yes, ma'am. This looks like a little dominatrix type of stuff. Let me push play and keep watching. Ooh. He says, yes, ma'am. Your foot? She says, you like what I did? Well, if you can't follow instructions, then we can't do things anymore. This is going to cost you. And he looks scared as hell, honey. He looks scared, and then she gets a ping on the phone. Then she looks up at him and says, follow me again, and we are history. And he says, yes, ma'am. She says, you'll hear from me or not. Keeping him waiting, honey, on bated breath. Okay, Vanessa, I see you. So we get back to the hospital, honey. We see Shanice. Hey, Shanice. Hey, boss lady Shanice, nurse boss. And so she meets Naomi and Jacob in the hospital lobby. And so do we need to be worried about June? She's like, yeah, she's getting prepped for surgery, but Dr. Wilkes had a family emergency. So the surgery will be done. And so they're like, by who, perhaps? So they're still working on trying to find another surgeon to do the surgery, but she did reassure them that Dr. McBride or Dougie will be supervising the surgery. So she said, we have so many qualified surgeons, she'll be fine. And then stupid Jacob again. So Dr. McBride won't be performing the surgery. No! God dog it. And Shanice was like, yes, I'm sorry, but this is not what June wanted. It's like, I don't know who said it, but be quiet, Jacob. That was actually Naomi talking about, well, this is not what June wanted. And because she hasn't even met this mystery surgeon that Dr. McBride will be supervising. Y'all just chill. Shanice is not going to let y'all have nobody that's not qualified to work on this woman. So they go back and forth with her, talking about this is your family. Like, girl, she's gonna be in good hands, and he's gonna be in the room. It ain't like it's just some. He ain't gonna be there. He gonna be right there in the room. Talking about they just want to make sure she gonna be okay. She gonna be fine. She's why y'all so emotionally invested in this woman? So, Kat finally gets there at the hospital because remember she told Jacob earlier, just stay your ass right there. I got some big news. So she gets off the elevator and tells them that I got some information, honey, that's gonna blow y'all mind. And so Naomi's like, I'm gonna go grab a coffee, baby. Do you want anything? So Kat was like, I'm good. Naomi was like, girl, I was talking to my husband, not you. But I tell you, I love Catherine. I love me some Cat. So he said, the husband is good too, honey, but thank you, darling. So she kisses him and leaves. So it's Kat and Jacob. She says, okay, I had a conversation with Leslie about Laura's accident. So she plays a little bit of the snippet of when Eva and her were talking about. So you're saying, I'm sorry, when her and Leslie were talking about Eva being the main person who ran Laura off the road. And, Jacob gives that concerned look and we hear the music say, dawn on. So we're back to Leslie and Ted, Theodore. So Ted was like, bitch, everything that child has done is a direct result of the way your ass raised her. She says, she grew up fatherless. Ted was like, she had a stepfather. She was like, she needed you. Ted was like, how could I have known that you kept her? When I tell you he's doing this, he working this role. She's like, why wouldn't I? She was a souvenir of our love. So Ted is like, so is that your way of punishing the child? And Leslie with her tears, I never would do such a thing. Oh, she made me sick, but I love her. He says, how could you look at that face and not want to cherish her and protect her? She says, every time I looked in her eyes, I saw you. And I wanted you to see that perfect little human that we made. Count her tiny toes. Spoil her. You think I don't love Eva? No, you don't. I love her so much it hurts, she says, because she is a reminder of the love I lost, the life I would have had. Ted is like, bitch, you said that you ended the pregnancy. She said, well, yeah, that was the first and last time I told you a lie. You lying right now, honey. But how many lies did you lay on me, Teddy? On your wife? Your son? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Ooh, next to you, baby, I am squeaky clean. And he says, all I know is Eva is a victim of a deranged mother. She says, what can I say except, you're right. Ted looked at her, what the fuck? It was like, I said that, but I wasn't thinking that you were going to agree with me. Whew, that was intense. He's delivering. Okay, next scene we see Nicole and Smitty back at her house. So she asked him, like, wait a minute, wasn't Martin talking about postponing a few years ago? Maybe it was around that accident, So they go back and forth about the fact that he's been talking about this a long time. He's been really getting out in the public eye, doing whatever he needed to do to keep his, name in people's mouths. So just because he's taking a pause on it, that doesn't mean that he's completely, like the run bid is not completely off the table, but she wants to know the reason why Martin is changing his mind. Girl, you just went through some shit. That's why he did that. So Smitty was like, well, the last time I talked to him about it, he said he wanted to stop now because of him and the kids. And he was like, I told him that before. He said I was wrong. And so Nicole is like, well, what do you think changed? Girl, it's because his father had an affair. Now he knows that he has a half sister out there that he never knew about. So yeah, that changed his mind a little bit. So Nicole was like, yeah, that is true. She says, he said, other than the nightmares. And so Nicole was like, what nightmares? She didn't say that, but she looked. So Vanessa, the text that Vanessa got at the restaurant with the guy that she was playing, mistress, what is it? Mistress, no, I don't want to say slave. mistress. Yeah, y'all know what it is that um Vanessa, she asked Vanessa to come by to talk to her, so Vanessa's on her way to come talk to her. I'm ready to see the new picture because behind on that table, it was the old Ted and her in their little picture that they took for either their wedding or the anniversary party. So I'm ready to see if they had him redo that picture with Nicole. Vanessa's a trip. She says she comes by with this pie. I don't know if it's apple pie, whatever it is. So she was saying that Vanessa was. I mean, Nicole was like, I could leave. No, Smitty said I could leave, and Nicole was like, no, that's okay. He's like, no, I just wanted to bounce off some ideas on you to see what you think your son was thinking. So Vanessa comes in there with the pie in the hand. He's like, wow, it's good to see you. She's like, Smitty. He said, looks delicious. She says, don't I though? So he felt he hugged Nicole. Smitty hugged Nicole. I love you. So he was like, bye Vanessa. He felt real awkward hugging Vanessa, so he left. And she was like, something I said? Yeah, girl, that man ain't interested in you. Bill's bullshit ass. He back to them with the Duprees and him talking. He talking about we were family. And I know it won't happen overnight, but I miss y'all. I want to be able to, make sure we in each other's lives. And Anita was like, other than the divorce and the affair, I mean, that's what he said. But she was like, yeah, just what do you want? So he was like, I'm just hoping that we can someday, put our differences behind us. And she was like, differences? And he was like, look, Anita, Ted's actions were his alone. No, it wasn't. Anita says, he was like, say he set this wheel in motion, not me. She was like, honey, if you're looking for forgiveness, baby, you got a lot more work to do. So as she was saying that, she was opening the door to let him leave. He's like, forgiveness? Well, I wasn't necessarily looking for that, but I'll take that into consideration moving forward. She says also requesting an appointment without showing up uninvited and showing up uninvited would also be advisable. In other words, don't be showing up at our house without having an appointment. And if we're free, then you can come over. But if we're not, no, we're busy, we're booked. He says, I will keep that in mind too, as he goes and graces the doorway. And she says, do. Bye, Bill. She said, and Vernon was like, you didn't cause a scene. You didn't leave him, in tears. And she was like, the Jarvises were pulling up, honey. I ain't want them to be nosy, seeing what I was cussing his ass over. So, no, I ain't cuss him out this time. She said, that man makes me so angry. And Vernon was like, look, take that fire and use it for some good. Here's your phone. Here, it's time for you to call an old friend. Vernon, she did that yesterday, and Miss Sharon hung up on her. So she tells him that she picked up the phone, like I just said, and she tried to talk to Sharon. Sharon ain't say nothing. Sharon just hung up the phone. So she was like, how? She said, it hurt. That shit hurt. So why would I set myself up and put myself up to call and reach out to Tracy and do the same stuff? Vernon was like, well, you don't have to use that phone. You have to pick up that phone. He's talking about her cell phone. She's like, thank you. He's like, you can use the house phone. Same number, and maybe she'll pick it up because it's a phone number that she recognizes. And Anita was like, say what? Life is short. Let's relive our glory days, honey. Let's do it. Let's get on the stage and just pop. And Vernon was like, yeah, why not? And so she reminds him, Vernon, it's been decades, baby. So she wants to know, why in the world do you want to make this happen? So he tells her, he like, look, when I'm upstage, when I'm on that stage giving my speeches and I see your face glowing and you looking up at me like I'm 25. I felt that same thing when I watched you up there with the girls doing karaoke. Yeah, it was just karaoke with the family, but baby, you were radiant. Well, Anita was like, honey, I'm a long way from 25. I hear you, Anita. He was like, you have so much talent inside of you. It's burning to get out. He was like, look, maybe Tracy and Sharon has been waiting on your phone call for years. She's like, well, honey, it's not that easy. He was like impossible has ever stopped you before. He reminds her that when Jim Price had first talked to her about doing the gig, her immediate reaction was like, I want to get up there with the girls. And so he was like, look, if you don't want to be with the girls, that's fine. Look, you can get up there by yourself. You had a successful solo career without them. It's up to you. So we're back at Kat and Jacob, honey. And so she plays the rest of the recording, about you're not going to expect for me to testify against my daughter. So you got nothing. You got no witnesses, no motorcycle, no nothing. So Jacob does agree. He said those are some pretty damaging statements because Kat was like, look, here's everything right here to put her ass away, put Eva away. So Kat is like, so what do we do? Do we have to go and arrest her? Will Eva make a confession? Do we have to wait? What do we do? I'm ready. He was like, whoa, wait, slow the roll, cuz, slow your roll. We back to Leslie and Ted, and she talks about how much Eva weighed when she was born, 6 pounds 5 ounces. She felt pain. She felt not the type of labor pain only, but she felt lonely. Girl, she talking about she prayed that he would track them down and find us, and then tell them that you're my family, and that that Eva could definitely have a father. He apologized that she was so alone. She's like, so was I. I cried a lot. So did the baby. She cried a lot too. She was screaming at that baby. If she was crying a lot, she abused that child. You know that. She didn't know who to turn to, where to go. She just was so lonely. She claimed that she didn't know who to turn to, but then there was Bill, so she was still afraid of what Bill said he would do. So, so he keeps telling her, if I would have known, I would have been there. She's like, see, that's the part that I don't like the most. That's the part, you know, I spared you, Ted. I spared you so that you could live happy with your real family. Honey, she tells him that Eva was a blessing, but now they are giving him a second chance to do right by them. Not Eva only, but them, both of them. Girl. So Kat is like, the proof is here. He was like, look, that's hearsay. I understand. But they got the hearsay law, blah, blah, blah. We can't do it. So she's like, what do you want me to do? He was like, would you be mad at me if I told you to let it go? So she says, look, I'm going to send you this recording again, and I need for you to listen to it for me, please. She's like, I don't know if this is a smoke or actual fire, but Eva and Leslie are the only people that benefited from the fact that Laura got hurt. So he was like, you don't feel no type of way because she's your sister? She was like, wrong is still wrong. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care. Just because we got the same family don't mean the same father. That don't mean a damn thing. So he was like, I do have some problems sometimes mixing family with the law and stuff, with the Danny's thing. She was like, look, whatever, just try to help me. He's like, you could be really, really annoying. So he sees Dougie and Shanice talking in the background because, he's really focused on what they're going to do about June. Well, we find out that June's surgery went well. They're happy. Doug went in there, did his thing, of course, overseeing everything. So he was like, sorry, but I got to go. I got an appointment. We know what that appointment is, honey. He's going to be on his way to that damn casino where Danny and Pam are. So, of course, we showed Danny and Pamela. Pamela is winning, girl, up a storm, and Danny comes back to the table with a couple of drinks. And I think that they're trying to seek some new talent, some new model talent for the agency. So she got the bartender's name and phone number, so they might reach out to her later. So they just having a good time, having girly good time, honey. So Pam and Danny, it's not really a lot going on. They go back and forth about where they should start, whether in the DMV, Adams Morgan, go to Paris, go to Europe. They got in some trouble when they was over in Europe. Do they think it's wise to return? Because, honey, we was a hot mess. So they having a little girl time, all fun. So the next scene we see Vanessa and Nicole are sitting there talking. Vanessa was like, you got a whole pie waiting for you. She's like, that's not really why I want you to stop by, girl. I'm thinking about selling this house. So Anita and Vernon are back talking about, her conversation with Sharon and Tracy. It'll happen the way she wants it to. And he's like, never? And she was like, look, I'll do it in my own time. He was like, look, I know how to broker in peace. She was like, look, we're not talking about Congress shit right now, Vernon. He's like, no, I'm not talking about that either. I'm talking about the dinner table when Danny and Nicole was talking about, who was the best boy band, talking about them raggedy little boys. And I hope he ain't talking about no New Edition. Because back then, they weren't raggedy. They were right. I love you, Vernon, but don't be talking about my New Edition now. So he was like saying, although, you might be two different people who have different opinions, you all still have the connection there. So he was like, okay, out of all the girls, who was the most quietest one? We found out Tracy was the quiet one. She was the peacemaker. So he was like, was she a church girl? Oh, yeah, we had to be churchy back then. So he was like, you just go ahead and talk churchy with her. Say, make a joyful noise. You just sang Amazing Grace the other day. So Vernon throws some scriptures at her like, don't hide your light under a bushel and use your talents and make them multiply and make a joyful noise or two. Yeah, it's like coming together, making great music is like going to church. I said, yes, Vernon, that is true. So he asked her, is there a favorite story that you have? She said, oh, God, yes, I got a few. He's like, well, see, that you're the only one that has a piece of that history of her past that only you, her, and Sharon share. Give her back some of that joy. Tap into that side of her that will bring that spark back between all three of y'all. So he was like, do that, and I'm sure she'll come running back for more. So Nita was like, honey, sometimes some people just can't get past the past. And you're damn right about that, Nita. You're right. Next scene, we see Bill walking into Orphe Jeans. He looks so odd walking in there. And Smitty is there. So Smitty is like, I want you to tell me some stuff about Martin. Well, he didn't say that, but Bill was like, what do you want me to tell you about your husband? Well, I'm here to tell you. What do you want to know? He says that there's always some trouble in a marriage when one spouse chooses to go behind the other spouse's back asking questions. He said, well, that's at least what my divorce lawyer told me. And so Smitty makes it clear, like, look, I'm not asking about Martin. I want to know about you. And then Bill talking about, look, I'm a busy man, and you have lunches to pack, right? It's like, damn. Ooh, Bill. So Smitty was like, a couple of days ago, you told me that, it's important for family to be on the same team, that Martin would know that. Can you elaborate, honey? Tell me what's going on. Bill's talking about, I really wouldn't read too much into it. That I wouldn't do that. He lies talking about what I probably meant was that family is way too important for us to turn our backs on, simply because we don't agree. Stop lying, Bill. Then he gives Smitty a quote. Smitty is looking at him like, Nick, you sitting here lying to me. Family today, friends tomorrow, family always. Some type of bullshit quote. So Smitty is like, should I quote you? He's like, no, don't quote me on that, because I ain't no expert in family first. So Smitty is like, let's bring this round full circle. I'm going to ask you flat-footed, is there something that you don't want the public to know about? And does this have something to do with my man? Bill is like, ask your husband. He'll tell you. He was like, look, and like the Duprees are like that. Like, one thing about the Duprees, they don't know how to really bring stuff forward. And when they do come forward, it really hurts a lot of people. And he said, my job is to make sure that I protect the people that I love. That's what I'm here for. He reiterates that, look, we got two beautiful children that we adore. And he was like, yeah, they're great kids, Bill says. He was like, look, so if you know something that about Martin, that shit affects me too. So he asked Bill, like, look, I'm asking you from one outsider Dupree to another. If what you know about Martin, if that could definitely affect me or my family, I wants to know right now. And Bill is looking at him. Ooh, I don't know about that. So we go back to Naomi and Jacob checking on June, and Shanice is in there. She's doing fine. So they say, you made it through the surgery. She was like, oh, that surgeon with one hand tied behind his back. Oh, I might have some room in my life for a man. Definitely like that one. So Shanice was like, I'll let his wife know. And so June is like, girl, he fixed my heart. I gotta find somebody suitable enough to break it. Why not the same man who put it back together? Go ahead, June. You dropping gems. So June looks concerned. They want to stay there and talk with her, but Jacob said duty called, so he had to leave. And Naomi was going to stay there, and like June was like, "You can go too." No, I can stay here and watch you fall asleep. And like Shanice was like, "No, let the girl just had heart surgery. Let's leave and let her rest." God, dog it. So they do, but she looks really scared. She has a look on her face that has me a little worried. I don't know about that. So as they're playing, as Danny and Pamela are talking about, if she wins, then I can decorate the office. And Pamela's like, if I win, then we're going to rename it the Curtis Dupree Agency. So she was like, Danny was like, fuck that, deal them. So Doug comes in. Hey, Doug, come over here and join us. No, y'all go ahead. I'll be over there in a minute. Sneaky ass Joey comes in almost at the end of the show, as they always do. He was like, "Where my money?" Like, look, I just wanted to let you know that I went back to the OR today. No, I didn't cut nobody, but my cast will be off soon, and I'll be able to pay you. He was like, "Look, you're gonna be 80 years old before you even pay the interest. Let her know the principal. I want my money." He was like, "I don't want to scare your ass, Doug, but I gave your ass a week to pay me back my money." So he's like, "How the hell you gonna get out of this jam?" So we get to the next scene, back to Vanessa and Nicole, and so Vanessa's like, "Wait a minute, sell this house, this one?" So Nicole is like, "It's just too many memories, and with Ted being gone, then I can go ahead and do what I need to do. I guess start over new. You understand?" And so Vanessa was like, "Yeah, sure." So she was like, "When you gonna list it for me?" So Vanessa was like, "Not on your life, honey. Nope, I ain't listing this house." Danny was like, they come back to the casino with Danny and Pam talking. So Danny's like asking Pam, what do you think is going on with that conversation they having? She's like, them talking about it? She's like, no, why is Doug here in the middle of the day? She's like, because we here too? She's like, oh, that's right. So Pam was like, have you seen his social media? And Danny was like, Doug's? And so she was like, no, Joey's. And so Pam tells her, like, girl, he's an amazing cook, honey. Go on his Instagram. He whips up some plates, be having me salivating through the phone, honey. You need to check out his Instagram. So Danny is going up there checking to see how great his plates are. Because remember, she saw Vanessa and him the other day all hugged up and smoochy smoochy with each other. I'm like, So Dougie, back over there with Dougie and Joey. Yeah, you have been patient, Joey. He's like, look, every man has his limits. That's what Joey says. He's like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to pay you back? He never says the amount. I wish I would know what the amount is. And Joey keeps putting back in his face, look, your wife is rich. You need to tap her on the shoulder. And then Joey gives him an ultimatum. Either you will call your wife or I will. So Vanessa and Nicole are talking, enjoying that wonderful piece. It looks like it's peach pie. And so Vanessa was like, a friend of mine who's a psychiatrist, honey, she will give people great advice and will tell people, like, if you don't make so many haste decisions, a year from now. And so Nicole was like, everybody's giving me a damn year. Remember Ted told her the same thing a couple days ago. She's like, look, a year from now, if you still feel the same way about this beautiful edifice, I will sell this house, make us a fortune, and then we're going to go like Thelma and Louise, honey, on a trip like we've always planned. Yes, we get back to Anita and Vernon, and so she was on the phone with Tracy, but we didn't know that. She was like, I understand, being all tearful and stuff. So she hangs up the phone, and Vernon was like, baby, I know it's hard right now. She's like, she don't know. I talked to Tracy. I don't know if we're going to do sing here or in her city. I don't know. And she said yes. She said, for dinner now. I ain't asking about the singing yet, but for dinner. Baby steps, baby steps. So Miss Tracy is arriving today. She getting her ass on the train. She's coming up today. Vernon was like, today? So Anita sounds nervous, and she's like, I don't know what her favorite food was. I'm trying to remember. She still sounds the same. Ain't nothing changed. Tracy still sounds the same. And she's like, I don't know if this was meant to be or not, but she said, but that was the best damn phone call of my life. Anita's nervous. She's like, what should I wear? Why did you let me waste so much time? I just don't know what to do. And so Vernon just grabs her, and he just looks in her eyes and says, baby, you'll figure it out. So we're back to Smitty and Bill. And so Smitty is asking him what's going on. And so Bill tells him, you know what? Secrets and lives keeps marriages alive. It keeps, people from getting hurt and stuff. And he was like, yeah. Like, he gives an example. Yes, baby, that suit looks good on you. Oh, no, baby, I wasn't looking at that hot guy. We supposed to lie and deceive our partners to keep everybody happy. You know what I'm saying? So Smitty is like, so you're saying that one should not expose that they're having an affair with a family friend? Is that what you're talking like? The secrets like that, Bill? Give him shade, Smitty. So Bill keeps talking about, well, what is it? Smitty won't tell him about, he decided to not run for president. And he was like, Bill was like, well, whatever it is, I'll read about it in the group chat. And Smitty was like, you ain't in the damn group chat no more. And then as we see them sitting there talking, we see Ted come in with a bag of, gifts for Eva and some birthday cards. Oh. So Bill leaves Orphe Jeans, and we see Ted looking at Smitty like, what's that about? Then we get back to damn Leslie at the house looking at a scary movie by herself. Don't you dare open that door. She's like, oh, how you gonna fall off your own feet? And then she hears a, she said, ah! That bitch almost jumped out of her skin. She almost jumped out of her skin. And I guess the person on the other side of the door said, everything all right? And of course, it's Jacob. Jacob shows up at her house. So Leslie's like, well, Officer Friendly. I am in the middle of a movie, honey. So what do you want? And you know, Jacob gets right to the point. We need you at the station. Period. And that's the end of the show. What a good show. It's all right. It wasn't a lot of popping off today, but it was good. I mean, I'm glad to finally see Ted and Ted and Leslie finally meet. I can't wait to see the new Ted and Nicole, how they're going to get along. I can't wait to see that. So another day with your recap auntie. I'm Shar, and thank you so much for joining me today for episode number 54 of Beyond the Gates. And I will be back and join you guys in the next audio video. Bye.